In 1999, the Technical Office of Biodiversity of Guatemala, CONAP, created the National Strategy for the Conservation and Sustainable Use of Biodiversity in order to guide, coordinate and order the actions of the main actors related to biodiversity, so that, together, the conservation and sustainable use of living resources are achieved. In July 1999, the National Institute of Forests, INAB, with the support of the World Conservation Union, IUCN, published the regulations for the use of mangroves, considering that the protection, conservation and restoration of mangrove ecosystems and that the use of trees in these ecosystems must be subject to special regulations. The objective of this regulation is to dictate the norms for the adequate application of the mandate contained in the forestry law regarding the use of trees in the mangrove ecosystem, as an integral part of the sustained management of this type of ecosystem. This regulation is of general application in all mangrove vocation areas, with the exception of areas declared as protected by law. The researcher Julio Garcia, in the year 2000, carried out the investigation entitled Ecological Bases of the Functionalities of the Mangrove Ecosystem of the Pacific of Guatemala, which aimed to determine the ecological bases, which would allow to establish the indicators that should be applied for the generation of guidelines for the use and management of mangroves in the Guatemalan Pacific. The results show a clear knowledge of the evolution of the ecosystem, which has led to the deterioration of natural resources in the area. In the document, the environmental management indicators for mangroves are proposed, including the forest cover, total biomass, biomass by species, water quality, soil quality, flows, sedimentation, quantity and quality of populations, among others. Researcher Julio Garcia, in 2001, published the master's thesis Environmental Management Guidelines in the Mangrove Ecosystem and Other Natural Means of the Sipicate Naranjo National Park, with the aim of generating environmental management guidelines to be applied in the Park National Sipicate Naranjo. The proposal aims to provide information on the management and use of natural resources that should be carried out within the park. In general, the guidelines consist of zoning the area using biotic and geomorphological criteria, a proposal for a basic action program that includes guidelines for a public use plan, research and management plan, acquisitions, concessions and extensions program, forestry plan, fisheries management, salinero, livestock and tourist recreational use. In 2002, the project Determination of Pressures and Sources of Pressure that Affect the Biodiversity of the Sipicate National Park Naranjo, La Gomera, Escuintla was developed. Concluding that the main conservation element in the park is the mangrove system and emphasizing that the damage caused by sources of pressure to biodiversity as a whole is of human origin. Among the sources of pressure are the contamination of the water resource, garbage dumps on the banks of the Acum River, agro-export crops, deforestation, etc. Thus, recommending continuing with relevant research in this area to strengthen and follow up on conservation policies. Mangrove ecosystems have been subject to pressure from the inhabitants of the coastal zone. The mangrove is cut for the production of charcoal and firewood, for the construction of houses, and used as a tutor for the cultivation of pasture and tobacco. However, the biggest problem for this ecosystem is the change in land use for agricultural uses in the export market, the establishment of salt mines, the construction of shrimp farms and summer houses in tourist centers. Another cause of mangrove disappearance seems to be the sedimentation and flooding process that occurs in the estuaries. This causes the death of plants by drowning and prevents natural regeneration, a phenomenon that is the result of soil erosion caused by deforestation. Fundico, 2002. At the 8th meeting of the Conference of the Contracting Parties to the Convention on Wetlands of International Importance, RAMSAR, held in Valencia, Spain in November 2002, Resolution 8.32 was established. Conservation, integral management and sustainable use of ecosystems. Mangrove and its resources, where the great importance of the wide range of ecological goods and services offered by the mangrove ecosystem is recognized, as well as its economic, social and environmental value for fishing, biodiversity and coastal protection, recreational activities, education, and coastal and neritic water quality. Not forgetting that the livelihood of a large number of local communities and indigenous peoples depends on the productivity and health of the mangrove ecosystems.